Infinitive English. Together, we're gonna make your English better.
I'm a great admirer. Well, sit down. Well, I don't want to interrupt. Have a seat. Well, maybe just a minute.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Infinitive English channel. I'm your host. My name is Raman, and you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of Phonetical Breakdown. And in this episode of Phonetical Breakdown, we're going to be working with the founder, with Michael Kitten. The story about the creator. Well, technically, he wasn't a creator of the McDonald's as a thing. He was a creator of McDonald's as a franchise. And even though we don't have McDonald's as a thing in Russia no longer, we got Вкусная точка. Guys, hope you're ready for this. It's going to be a good one. Without further ado, let's get it.
Phonetical Breakdown.
I'm a great admirer. Well, sit down. Well, I don't want to interrupt. Have a seat. I'm a great admirer. Well, sit down. Well, I don't want to interrupt. Have a seat.
The founder. Well, sit down.
Well, sit down.
Well, sit down. Okay, guys, let's get the breaking started, right? So it's quite short. It's quite easy. Again, guys, you remember, we're connecting everything. Even though if it's, if it has some pauses, it doesn't mean that it has got to stop. You know what I'm saying? So you have got to keep your voicing, okay? Because it's the part of the secret to master your American lazy English pronunciation, right? So you don't have to stop your voicing like I just did, okay? Well, sit down. He did not say, boom, pause. No, he said, listen.
Well, sit down.
Well, sit down. Well, sit down. Okay, now, what's up with this? Sit down. Sit down. We connected T and D, right? So T and D, technically, it's the same sound like the Pam in The Office. They're the same picture, right? So T, D, in we have ow, right? The diphthong ow, and here we have sit, not sit, right? Sit. Sit down. And here, because we've connected everything, we got the flap T. And thus, it sounds sit down, not sit down. It's not British, guys, again, right? American lazy English. Sit down. Well, what's is a filler, okay? Maybe I'm not gonna speak for other languages, but in Russian, those filler words there are somewhat considered being the words parasites. Ты понял. Короче, ты понял. In English, especially in the American English, these words kind of, they are considered to be perfectly fine because they give you the time to build the right sentence. Okay? So you said, sit down. Okay? Try saying it with me. We'll use the same technique, backward sentence exercise, right? Down. It's not down, okay? Down. Listen how he said this.
Sit down. Sit down.
Sit down. Sit down. You see? It's like, sit down. Sit down.
Sit down. Well, sit down.
Well, sit down. Try saying it. Well, sit down. You guys are doing amazing. Let's get moving, y'all.
Well, I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt.
I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt.
I don't want to interrupt.
Oh my, I don't want to interrupt. Oh, shit. Don't get me started on this one, right? I don't want to. Okay, guys, it sounds complicated, but once we're going to get down to the bottom of this, guys, you will be able to understand this like it's a real thing. Well, technically, it is a real thing. It's just American lazy English. All right, so again, guys, we're connecting everything as usual, and I won't get tired to say it again and again and again and again. To create the specific American accent, the melody of it, right? You gotta connect every single thing together, right? So, now this one. Wanna. You already know by now, right? Wanna. But listen again the way he said this.
I don't want to interrupt.
I don't want to interrupt.
I don't want to interrupt.
So now, we got I don't. You remember, guys, those T's in this thing, all of the T's are dropped. Pay attention to it. This one, this one, this one, this one, and even this one. They all drop. Listen to how he said this.
I don't want to interrupt.
Did he aspirated the T at least once?
I don't want to interrupt.
Hell no, he didn't. Now let's get down the line, okay? So I don't. The T's drop like in the again, guys. Center, I'm sorry, international, internet. So if the T follows up the N, it's just dropped, right? It's just dropped. Internet center, international, internet. Okay. Now, once we've connected everything, we should treat this chunk as if it was one word. Okay. So the same rule applies to the chunk. Same rule from the word applies to the chunk. And it doesn't mean that the Americans, they all the time will be dropping them. Sometimes they won't. But take it with a grain of salt. You are trying to master and learn American lazy English. All right, so let's get going. I don't wanna. What's going on with the D? It is slightly dropped, so it's I don't wanna. Now, guys, whoo, and it sounds like inner rup. So the T is not aspirated, thus it's drop T. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt. Listen to him.
I don't want to interrupt.
So the T's there. Of course it's there. Of course all the letters are there. Of course T's there, but it's just not aspirated. And thus it sounds like it's not there. But it's there. It's a magic. Okay? So interrupt. Okay? Now let's run the backward sentence exercise here, right? Say it with me. Interrupt. So the thing with this T here, it's stock T, okay, or drop T, whatever you want to call it. The main thing about it, you do not aspirate it, all right? So you go interrupt, but you do not use the aspiration here, okay? You say interrupt, say it. Interrupt, wanna interrupt. I don't wanna interrupt.
I don't want to interrupt.
I don't want to interrupt. Now let's try saying it with the same pace he did. I don't want to interrupt. All right, guys. So the last one is just, well, simple and clear, but still, guys, pay attention. Everything is connected. Have a seat. He told them, listen.
Have a seat.
So, guys, that'll do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. As usual, I hope you won't forget to take a couple seconds of your sweet time to drop that like and hit that notification note so you won't miss any positive content going on forward. Stay safe out there. And remember, together, we're going to make your English better.